First things first, I want to say shout out to Zeb on Twitter. I got this idea from him where he simulated the lottery 50 times. And this was well before I even did my video, and I got the idea from him. He's a cool Hawks fan to follow on Twitter, so make sure you go ahead and follow him. And I wanted to make this more Charlotte Hornets based, but that's literally where I got the idea from. So first, I just want to say shout out to him, but let's continue to the video. What's going on, everyone? Trust the Buzz here if you're new to the channel. I make daily Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, I have simmed the draft lottery 1,000 times. It took a long time to do it, and actually I did it on Christmas, or maybe it was the day before Christmas, I don't remember, but either way I did it around that time, so just know the odds are a little different. But I know a lot of Charlotte Hornets fans were just opposed to tanking, opposed to just being bad, which I never wanted the team to be bad on purpose. Yeah, I just wanted to let it naturally happen, and it's taken its course. So I'm happy for that because this team is just not it. But anyway, I thought this would just be a fun, interactive video that everyone can enjoy. It's not the typical, hey, the Charlotte Hornets suck, because that's why I really don't like doing game recaps, because that's what it comes down to. Even though I do them because I know people like them. I do them because I know people have stuff to get off their chest. Like after this video, I'm going to record how the Charlotte Hornets got blown out by the Grizzlies, but I'm really not even going to talk about the game. There's other things in that I want to talk about. But like I said, I simmed the draft lottery 1,000 times, and I want to show you my results. But first, I got to show you how I did it. So let's go ahead and go to the screen. All right, so if you look right here on the screen, I don't know if you can see you probably can't see my mouse, but if you look right here on the screen, I have the odds for every team. Like I said, I did this on Christmas or the day before. I did it somewhere around that time, so the odds are a little different, so bear with me. Holidays, it was just tough to find time to record this video. But as you see, Pistons at 14%, Hornets at 14%, Rockets at 14%, Spurs at 12.5%, and this is chances to get the #1 pick, by the way. Wizards at 9.8%, Magic are at 9.7%, Los Angeles Lakers, which really is the New Orleans Pelicans pick, is at 7.5%. The Oklahoma City Thunder at 6 points. Oklahoma City Thunder at 6%, Bulls at 4.5%, the Golden State Warriors are at 2.5%. The Toronto Raptors are at 2.5%, Minnesota Timberwolves at 1.3%, and the Miami Heat 1.2%, and finally the Trailblazers at 0.5%. Now, how did I get these draft odds? How did I sim the lottery? Well, I used one of my favorite websites, Tankathon. I'm on here often, always have been, because the Hornets have always been bad. But essentially what you do is you go to this website and you click sim. So as you can see, Miami and I want to say Golden State are already out of here, or already not in here, or maybe they are. I don't know. And then also you got to keep in mind the Minnesota Timberwolves pick, it belongs to the Jazz, and that's something I wanted to point out because of the fact that I just wrote Minnesota. It was just easier that way. Same with the Bulls. Yeah, it's technically Orlando's pick unless it's top 4. All right, so like I said, what I would do is I would go here, press sim lottery, and then boom, the Detroit Pistons would go. And then I would go over here and go to the outcome and write it down. So as you see, my very first attempt, the Warriors got it, considering they have really bad odds. That was kind of cool. And then like for every 100, I believe, I had like a little chart or table to show it. And this is kind of like the overall, but I also broke it down into these results. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So I'm not gonna go through every 100. Well, I might as well just show you the results, because we go through every 100, we'll be here forever. But essentially, this is the outcome. So the Detroit Pistons had 14% chance of getting the #1 pick, and after I did 1,000 simulations, they got it 13.7% of the time. And that's at them being #1 at this time when I made this chart. And the Charlotte Hornets being #2 at this time when I made this chart, their odds were 14% of the time they would get the #1 pick. Well, they basically got that with 13.9%. So 139 times out of 1,000, they got the first round pick. Same with the Detroit Pistons. Now that's why the lottery is the lottery, is that no matter how close you want to be, there's still a chance that another team can just hop up. As you see, 14% is a lot compared to the other teams, but 14% isn't a lot in the grand scheme of things. So that's something you got to think about. That's something I like to think about. That's why I didn't want the Hornets, because really I don't think anyone who's supposed to get, since they changed the lottery odds, I don't think anyone who's supposed to get a first round pick has actually gotten it. So that's why I didn't want the Hornets to be that bad. However, what I just didn't want them to do is currently what they're doing, and that's for another video. But as you see, Houston Rockets, 145% of the, 145 times out of 1,000, they got the number 1 pick. That's 14.5%, which is higher than their odds. And I think for everybody else, it was basically the same or lower. The Thunder got it a lot, almost at 7%, considering their odds are only at 6%. And then the Bulls barely missed their odds. Same with the Warriors. The Warriors got above it at 2.8%, and they have a 2.5% chance. Toronto Raptors are one of the people who are hurt because the Warriors got a 2.8%. So of course the Toronto Raptors chances go down, and so they only got 2.2%. And the Minnesota Timberwolves, who we know is the Utah Jazz, that pick. The Jazz have a 1.4% chance of getting the number 1 overall pick. Miami Heat has a 1.2% chance, and the Portland Trail Blazers have basically a 1% chance. And out of, when your original percentage was 0.5%, I would take a 1% chance. So that's how the draft lottery works. I feel like a lot of people don't understand how it works, even though I feel like it's pretty straightforward. But that's kind of how it works. A lot of people are just like, oh, my team's in these 3, we deserve the first round pick. And you could make a case for that, because the NFL, for an example, and I know it's like kind of a rough time to talk about the NFL because of I know it's a rough time to talk about the NFL because of Damar Hamlin. So still prayers up for him. I know he's like still in critical condition, but for the NFL, they don't have a lottery. It's if your team is bad, you get the first round pick. The NFL also has a really high, like, I say turnover ratio, but I mean like one team could be bad 1 second and then they're in the AFC championship the next, you know what I'm saying? So that's one, I don't know why it's that way. A lot of it has to do with so many people being on the team, so many people being on the field, so many moving parts, as opposed to the NBA. We've seen so many times, if you have 1 or 2 really talented guys, you can refrain from being horrible. As opposed to the NFL, you have a quarterback in a corner, you can still, it's very possible that you still don't be good because of the fact that there's so many other parts that go along with that. So the draft lottery, they're doing the best they can. I know a lot of people complain about it, specifically Charlotte Hornets fans, because of the whole Anthony Davis thing, where we were the worst team in the league and didn't get Anthony Davis. However, no one told Michael Jordan to pick Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. If you go back and look, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist was like a 10th best player, 9th best player, maybe as high as 6th. No one told him to be second. Bradley Beal was second. Bradley Beal was third. He ended up even being drafted third by the Wizards, of course, but no one told Michael Jordan to do that. And I actually want to do a deep dive on that one of these days about how Bradley Beal. I actually want to do a deep dive about that one of these days, where Michael Jordan chose Michael Kidd-Gilchrist. He chose someone that can't shoot. He was, banking off potential. At that time, it was said that Michael Jordan really only picked people who went to, big blue programs, and that's exactly what he did. And he's gotten a little better at it, but it's still pretty bad. And I say pick, maybe sign off someone else. It's like, hey, we should get this guy. He's like, definitely get him. Or if it's between 2 guys, one guy went to Kentucky and the other guy went to South Carolina, he's gonna pick the guy that went to Kentucky every time. So that's where we lie with that. I mean, you can even look at the Malik Monk, Donovan Mitchell situation. I know Donovan Mitchell had his problems coming out the draft, but I thought he was better than Malik Monk at the time. I was happy for Malik Monk. I liked Malik Monk. I liked him in the tournament that year, the college basketball tournament. But Donovan Mitchell to me was the better player. But he went to Louisville, and Malik Monk went to Kentucky. So Michael Jordan chose the guy that went to Kentucky, and that it's always been that way. But I just thought this would be a fun little experiment. I just wanted to show you the draft. I hope you liked it. Let me know what you think about the video down in the comment section below. Let me know what you think about the results down in the comment section below. I know some people are going to be like, see, they had a 14% chance and only got a 13.9% of the time, and see, that's why we shouldn't tank this, that, and the other. But like I said, I wasn't for just not playing the starters, but I'm for not playing them too much. Look at what happened to Kelly Oubre. You got guys rushing back. It's just a mess right now in the Charlotte Hornets organization. So I wasn't a fan of just completely bottoming out, but I was a fan of just stop trying to try your hardest to win, considering that doesn't do anything for this team. Nobody on this team is going to be here next year. You have a cheap owner. How are you going to replace this team? How are you going to replace them without signing people or doing trades? Because you don't like to do either. Through the draft. And so you want to give yourself the best draft odds. And that's how I've always felt about it going into this season. Other people felt differently. I know more people are seeing the light now because the Hornets are so bad. But anyway, that does it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Like I said, let me know what you think of just this video. Should I do it more often? Should I do it every now and then just to be, a fun little interactive video? Let me know.